new here, I'm Taylor Cezanne. Today we have Kaylee from Sweet Spot Nutrition. We're going to be talking, really focusing on pregnancy nutrition, how to support yourself on a nutritional level through pregnancy. So welcome, Kaylee. Hello.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And if you just want to kind of introduce yourself, how you got into what you're currently doing.
Yeah, for sure. So, like she said, I'm Kaylee. I run and own Sweet Spot Nutrition. I'm a nutrition coach. I'm certified through Precision Nutrition. I'm also a certified personal trainer, and I've been in health and wellness for just over a decade, which sounds crazy to say, but it's true. And in this current season, I'm pregnant as a surrogate. So pregnancy nutrition is really on my brain. And I love that you had reached out to talk about this stuff because it's fresh on my mind. I love talking about women's health. And this is such a great topic that a lot of people need to be educated on.
Yeah, absolutely. So just jumping right in, like what is your big ticket things? Like what are the big things you focus on?
For
For
my services.
yeah, well, or like just nutrition for pregnancy. Like are there certain
Yes.
things, like
Yeah.
certain foods that you really focus on including?
Yeah. I have the emphasis in my notes here on omega-3 fatty acids, protein intake, which there's a variety. Don't think you have to go and eat a bunch of meat.
Yeah.
We have a variety of things we can get protein from. Making sure you have enough folate and staying hydrated. Speaking of. So those are the four things that I really like to focus on when I tell people about pregnancy nutrition. I know it's difficult because a lot of people think they're pregnant, so I have a ticket out. I can eat whatever I want. But then again, you have to feed yourself and you have to feed baby. And in your body, baby comes first. Baby takes your omega-3 stores. Baby needs your protein to build its own cells. So we need to take in more of those things to make sure that baby can grow and you can stay well and have energy yourself.
Yeah. Awesome. I remember like this is
Yeah.
like way back when I think I was in high school. I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings, but there was a pregnant woman and she was like, babies are just like parasites. They just suck everything from you. Which is like kind of a like an extreme, but they do. They like suck the nutrients they
It's
need,
true.
which can leave you depleted if you're not consuming the right things.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how many women start already depleted and then they get
Mm,
pregnant and it just goes like negative. Like you're in
yeah.
the red zone. You're not like you have nothing and baby is like just skimming by, you
Yeah,
know?
that's such a good point.
Yeah.
And omega-3s, I think, are like people know protein and that sort of thing. Like, what do you
Yeah.
recommend for omega-3s? Like, where are you getting that from?
Yeah, omega-3 fatty acids. Maybe people have heard of omega-3s with fish oil and those supplements. And then you got omega-6s, which are inflammatory. So omega-3s are anti-inflammatory and they're vital for brain development in ourselves and especially for baby. You know, babies need the DHA and the AHA fatty acids to help their brain grow and really thrive. And like I said, it helps reduce inflammation. If you have joint pain while you're pregnant, getting in those omega-3s can be really beneficial for that joint health. Sources include fish. I recommend the acronym SMASH fish, which is sardines, mackerel, anchovies, salmon, and herring. And I know fish can be difficult to take down while pregnant. Sometimes the smell deters people, the look of it. I get it. I don't even like seafood, so it really deters me. But you can also get those oils in a fish oil supplement. So you want to make sure you have a quality supplement. A quality supplement means that it's not rancid when you open the bottle and it has, just great quality manufacturing processes and
Mhm.
that it's sustainably manufactured. We're really doing a number on our fish resources because
Yeah.
of all the fish oil supplements and all the farming and whatnot. So we need to make sure it's a sustainable source. So if you don't want to take a supplement and you don't eat seafood, you could also get omega-3s from flax and chia seeds, grass-fed and pastured meat that includes beef, bison, eggs. Don't forget eggs from
Mm,
chicken are a great source of omega-3s. Nuts, typically like walnuts, pecans, things like that, not peanuts. Peanuts and peanut butter, very high in omega-6s, which I said are inflammatory, as well as extra virgin olive oil. So load up on
Oh, wow.
salads, saute your veggies in it, your veggies on your sheet pan meals, put them in olive oil and eat it up. It's good stuff.
Yeah, perfect. And another one you touched on was folate. So
Yeah.
where are you getting that from?
Yeah. So folate is incredibly beneficial for preventing those neural tube defects. And I recommend folate, not folic acid, because folic acid is artificially made and manufactured. And about a third of the population can't even pull folic acid into the folate form in our cells. So then it's mute. It has no purpose in our body. So I
Yeah.
recommend getting a methylfolate supplement specifically. Typically women supplement, it's in your prenatals. That's why we take it, is for the folate, right?
Hmm.
And if you want to make sure you have enough before even getting pregnant or while you're pregnant, it is in our avocados, yum, beans, brightly colored fruit, leafy greens. So again, salads dressed with the olive oil. We're making meals here, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, anything that grows like off a stem, cruciferous,
Sure.
grows off a stem. Yeah. And that's where folate is present. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I know for me, like, I just remember being pregnant. This popped in my head when you said avocado. Like, I love avocado, but like when I was pregnant, I could not with avocado. Like it just tasted like I was eating crayons.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just one of those funny things that was like, no, avocado.
Yeah. It's really bizarre. And that's something that I want to remind people of. Anybody that's thinking about being pregnant or is pregnant, like, don't beat yourself up if there's something you really want to eat that you know is good for you, but you can't take it in because you're deterred from it. Like, it's not an excuse to eat poorly, but you also have to honor what your body is doing. Physiologically, our body is saying, I don't want to take in something that could hurt me, which is why a lot of women are deterred from eating meat. And they tell us not to eat lunch meat and deli
Mhm.
meats and things like that because it could make us sick. And the same goes for vegetables. I could not eat a vegetable. I had a lot of smoothies in my first trimester. Thank God that was in the summer.
Uh-huh.
And I had smoothies so I could have kale and avocado and whole milk and things that I just did not want to take in on
Yeah.
its own. It's wild. Like, you want to do good by your baby, but if you ate well before getting pregnant, at least you have those nutrient stores. And then
Hmm.
once you get to the second trimester, hopefully you can start eating normally again and build everything back up and support yourself and baby.
Yeah. I like the idea of a smoothie because you can really hide lots of things in smoothies.
Yeah.
Toss
Yeah.
in a banana and it's a banana smoothie with whatever else you want to put in.
With beets, with
Yeah.
yeah, with kale, with whatever. I did not eat beets, but I got them in my CSA this summer. And I was like, well, I guess I'm making smoothies. Turns out they blend really well. I thought it was going to be like chunks of beet, but it,
Yeah.
it blended in perfectly and it's beautiful. It's got that nice pink magenta color.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I bet
It's
the color
super
was just,
nutritious.
yeah, perfect. Um,
Yeah.
what do you recommend? Like, I mean, we have like these really intense cravings, and you kind of touched
Yeah.
on it. Like, it's a signal that either it's something our body needs or like something to stay away from. I think we all have like the cravings for the not so great foods.
Yeah.
So, what do you recommend to like find a balance?
Good question. I think it's important to honor the craving.
Hmm.
Say, if you want ice cream, maybe just go somewhere and get a one serving versus
Sure.
going to the store and buying a gallon, and then it's not in your house constantly. It's weird. I don't know how it was for you, and I haven't had a lot of women say like I needed this constantly in my pregnancy. But for me, I have something jump into my brain for one split second. It's like, you need a Butterfinger. And I'm like, you're right. I do need a Butterfinger. And if I'm going to the gas station, to get gas, I might go in and get one, but it's not something I normally have in my house. But
Hmm.
I mean, in general, I just it's good. Just like see if it flows away. If it doesn't, then honor it for
Hmm.
sure. If it's a constant unhealthy thing, then it could be a sign of a nutrient deficiency. Sometimes when we need like more iron, our body wants chocolate and nuts and things like that. So maybe some chocolate chips and a handful of nuts would help balance that out.
Mm.
And other times, like I said, some people, if you constantly eat those poor quality things, your body wants more of it. It's a
Yeah.
feedback system. If I'm always getting Butterfingers, I'm going to want one every day. But if you are normally not eating those things, it's not going to happen constantly. But yeah, honor the craving and
Yeah.
just say, like, you know what, I'm pregnant and this is life.
Yeah.
I want the pickles. I want the ice cream.
Definitely. Yeah. You gotta, and I think there's so much like pleasure tied up with food, like it just
Oh
like
yeah.
so much emotion and like it feels good to eat certain foods at certain times. Uh, but I like how you like gave the example of honoring it, and
Yeah.
maybe finding healthy alternatives. So like if I'm craving like a really sweet treat, like maybe making something at home and subbing out some ingredients or adding some like flaxseed or something to give it a little more like
Right.
sustenance.
Yeah, just thinking like I do want something sweet, but could fruit or like yogurt over that fruit help? Like taking in protein will help appease those cravings and morning sickness because it helps you feel full and it pairs really well. Like a protein packed whole milk yogurt over some pineapple might help appease that sweetness, tangy craving, whatever it is you have. And thinking about something like that, like, yeah, I really want like just like a brick of cheese. Do a couple slices, have some meat sticks and, maybe some fruit with it. And then you get a little bit of everything and it might help, bring that craving down and out and not like overtake your brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I something that's just popping in my head. I remember craving, it was pretty much every day. It was a waffle with peanut butter, um, bacon and cheese, like a sandwich, like every morning. Like that was what I needed. And
Yeah.
thinking back now, like I probably just needed some protein,
Right.
and some like healthy fats is what my body was really like, hey, Taylor,
Yeah.
this is what you need.
Yeah, it's true. Our bodies tell us that. And not everybody is aware enough, like maybe you and I are, to hear
Hmm.
that and feel that. I have had similar things and I'm like, I really want hard boiled eggs. Like I must need something from the eggs that I need to do this. And, I currently have a toddler and when I'm eating hard boiled eggs, he wants them all, but I'm glad that I got some this week. I'm glad that I didn't have to share all of them with him, but it's true. Sometimes you have these weird things that you want to put together in a meal, and maybe it's just because you just need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Our bodies are so intelligent that way, which is
Yeah.
just so incredible to me. Like, I think, I think in pregnancy, we're maybe a little more in tuned with it. Like we hear those
Yeah.
cravings a little bit louder, but it's really just to serve us and like help us feel and be our
Right.
best.
Right. Right.
Are there any like tips you have with like working with clients or for pregnant people in general with their nutrition? Like anything we haven't touched on?
Yeah, for sure. Getting in veggies, protein, and fat at every meal. That is my goal with all clients. Secretly, I try to get clients to fulfill their nutrient deficiencies, if any. I
Hmm.
don't do blood tests or anything, but based on what's going on in their body, if they have a messed up period or their sleep is poor or they're high stress, and just looking at their food every day, I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, you're not getting enough fiber and vitamin A and all that stuff. So I find it beneficial to make sure you have veggies, protein, and fat at every meal. And those veggies, making sure that they're mostly non-starchy. Starchy being rutabagas, potatoes. Rice is not a vegetable, that's a grain, but it popped into my head. And then, making sure that you're having those starchy veggies, the cruciferous vegetables, greens, Brussels sprouts, peppers, cucumbers, stuff like that. And then protein and fat so that you can ensure nutrient absorption, you can ensure fullness because protein and fat fill us up from our meals. And if you can do it while pregnant, awesome. If not every meal looks like that, that's life, and not every day is going to be like that. Pregnancy is not forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was pregnant, like I would always, I, I cheated a lot with my meals because I was
Yeah.
like, especially towards the end, I was just in this mentality, like, kind of like, F it. I can
Yeah.
eat what I want. I'm pregnant. But like, I always tried to get like a really big salad in for lunch, just like with a bunch of stuff on it. Um, I think it was more justifying my late night snacks that weren't
Yeah.
so great. But it did just help me feel better to have like multiple vegetables and things to
Yeah.
know that I'm getting all those nutrients, and just like energetically I felt better.
Yeah. And that's a good point. I mean, even for coaching clients, I try to tell them getting in those veggies in the morning, because if the end of the day always is a kind of a mess for you, just because, we stress eat at the end of the day, or unwind with like wine, or for me, it's been ginger beer lately. And it's just get them in the morning, and then you
Mm-hmm.
feel good. You got something nutritious in, and then later on in the day, you can be like, all right, I'm having this cheesy rice or greasy Mexican food or Chinese food or something sweet, because you're just done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just fried.
Yeah. You had touched on this a little bit. The like morning sickness, like eating
Yeah.
protein. Are there other things you suggest or that you've been doing to help with morning sickness?
Yeah, it's morning sickness is bizarre because it's so different for everyone. And I didn't have it with my first pregnancy. Only when I got hungry did I
Mm-hmm.
have it. But with this one, I had, 3 in the afternoon. I was bloated. I wanted to eat all the things, but yet I didn't want anything. Nothing sounded good. But I know that if you can get something in, making sure that it's got some protein in it, and a little bit of carbohydrate, not a ton, because you already might feel a little bit bloated, but things like plain like rice. If you can get some broth in, might be helpful,
Mm-hmm.
some bone broth, plus it's super nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get at least drink something, then you don't feel like you have to chew and swallow and digest, and it's not as harsh on your system. Because sometimes it's a spectrum, that morning sickness, what triggers you, whether it's physically having to go eat something or just a specific thing.
Sure.
And then I also recommend, just like I said, getting in what you can, even if it's just crackers. It's better than nothing. Like you don't want to go around hungry all the time. But sparkling water, like fizzy drinks, tend to help, not soda. You're taking all that sugar, but they tend to help settle the stomach, pregnant or not.
Yeah.
Those like, oh yeah, have a 7-Up, like the fizziness like helps in your tummy. So, having a sparkling water or something can be helpful. And the, ginger stuff, like the little ginger candies, can be really
Mm.
helpful. Tea. But if you have it and nothing helps alleviate it, then it's just something we have to deal with. I know a lot of people, when I was researching for myself, recommended have some saltines by your bedside in the morning and eat them before you get up. And I'm like, I don't have morning sickness in the morning. I have
Mm-hmm.
it in the evening. So I would try to make sure that I got in a lot of my food earlier in the day, because the evening it was
Yeah.
a crapshoot. I couldn't guarantee that I could eat. And if I did, it was like, cereal. I bought like honey bunches of oats simply because it was something that I knew I could eat.
Mm-hmm.
Oatmeal, things like that are kind of filling, but have some nutrients and are kind of easy on the stomach. But everybody's got to find their own thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people feel more settled on Cheez-Its, and
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. Quinoa, whatever, it's really personal preference at that point for morning sickness.
Yeah, that's so true. Just kind of like exploring and finding like what works for you
Yeah.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
True.
Is there any like, trying to think here, anything you've been including since you're pregnant right now, that maybe you don't include in your daily like nutrition routine, when you're not pregnant?
Good point. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I really stop and think about it, it has shifted my meal planning. And I know that I'm eating more carbohydrates because
Mm-hmm.
that's just what I feel like I need. And I'm sure a lot of women feel that way. But before I got pregnant, I was very protein and fat heavy in my diet. I was fasting 3 days a week, which I don't recommend doing while pregnant. So my macronutrients have shifted. And
Mm-hmm.
if I track, a couple days here and there, which I do sometimes, so I can have examples for clients ready to go, for when we track, I know that my carbohydrates are a lot higher. I typically only have 1 or 2 servings at a meal, or throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm having carbohydrates at every meal, whether it's like oatmeal at breakfast, a sandwich at lunch, and pasta at dinner when I normally might have oatmeal at breakfast and pasta at dinner. So
Sure.
I'm, I guess we talk about adding in something else. It's definitely more carbohydrates, but I'm trying to make sure they're from healthful sources like basmati rice, locally grown potatoes, organic oatmeal and oats, and
Mhm.
homemade bread. I've been baking a lot.
Awesome.
A lot. So I want the sweet stuff, but I'm making sure I'm making it myself. I did a sourdough starter. So now I have sourdough in my life regularly, which is awesome. So yeah, it's hard. I'm kind of biased because I'm already like a healthy person.
Yeah.
So if somebody was prepping to get pregnant, I'd say making sure you're getting in those veggies, protein, and fat at every meal, just making sure you're getting rid of those nutrient deficiencies and doing what you can while pregnant.
Mhm.
If a smoothie is all you can take down, make sure it's loaded with stuff, not just milk and fruit, because
Mhm.
you're missing out on what veggies have to offer. You know, good
Yeah.
question though. I got to stop and really think about that.
Yeah.
But what's wild is how different every pregnancy is. Like, do you have multiple kiddos?
No, just one.
No, just the one. Yeah, this is only my second, and she's a very different pregnancy from my own.
Yeah.
It was is very bizarre.
Yeah, it's also interesting because you have a son, right?
I do.
Yeah, so like I'm just curious, like maybe like the male female thing, like is
Yeah,
that part of it? Is
that's what
interesting.
I've been told. Yeah,
Yeah.
is typically when you carry girls, they have all the morning sickness. And there's a fitness person I follow who has two girls, and
Hmm.
she said in both her pregnancies she threw up every day, but like 8 days of the whole pregnancy. And I was
Yeah.
like, damn, that's rough. I never got physically sick. I don't know a lot of people that have,
Hmm.
but it happens, and it sounds like it's typically for girls.
Yeah.
We're mean in the
Yeah.
womb.
Right? Like just
uh
sucking everything. Um,
yeah, and you feel like you just, like I said, you want to be so nutritious and healthy and like, oh, I'm glowing, I'm pregnant, whatever, but in the first trimester it's hard.
yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't depend on the sex of the baby. It's just how your body is when you're pregnant. But I think that being a healthy person and setting yourself up for success before you even get pregnant really helps, because sometimes the morning sickness is a result of your body is like, I need more of something and you don't have enough of it, and I'm going to revolt.
Yeah.
um yeah, yeah,
And it sounds like you're like a big proponent for like food sources for your nutrients
yeah,
compared to supplements. Is
yeah,
there
yeah.
like a supplement brand that you like or you recommend?
Yeah, I definitely recommend orthomolecular, which
Okay.
is made here in Stevens Point. They have a manufacturing facility on the other side of the highway from where I am,
Hmm.
in Stevens Point. But the I have it, NutraWest. There we go. I had to look it up. I
Okay.
have like a name tag right over there. NutraWest is really great, as well as Innate Choice. They have a great fish oil that tastes awesome. They have like lemon and multiple flavors of fish oil.
Oh, cool.
Um, and I do recommend getting it from your food sources first, but I know that a lot of our food sources, because of soil quality, aren't always the most nutrient dense. So I
Mhm.
still take a multivitamin. I took a methylfolate before and while pregnant until the bottle was gone. And then I still take a fish oil because, like I said, I don't eat seafood.
Yeah.
And I used to recommend supplements a lot for clients, but I think it deterred people because food is the easiest. This is kind of why I do what I do. Like, food is so easy. You
Hmm.
can, all you have to do is grocery shop, and you have nutrients and wellness in your fridge and cabinets in your pantry. But it's the quality of it that counts.
Yeah, absolutely. I just
Yeah.
totally agree with that. Like food is such an easy part of everything to control
Yeah.
because it is like what you're buying and just what you're bringing into your house. So if you can kind of have some healthy boundaries around that, like you're
Yeah.
just setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, you can't guarantee everything from a supplement when you're still eating like Culver's every day.
Yeah.
No, I love Culver's, but it makes a world of difference when you're eating well, plus having the supplements on top of it. And I should mention that those brands that I recommended are typically only available from a physician. So you have to go to a
Mm.
chiropractor or a naturopath, or some, like, a doctor has to purchase them and sell them to you. You can't just go to their site and buy them. So
Oh,
if
interesting.
you don't, yeah, if you don't see a chiropractor or don't have anyone in your area that sells them, you could try going to a more natural place like Nutrition Discount Center in Stevens Point or a co-op. The place in what's the place in Rapids? The Family Wellness Center or something like that.
Yeah, like family food. Is
Yeah,
it that
Natural
what it
Family
is?
Foods.
Yeah,
That's it. They carry supplements and they have it's all going to be good quality stuff. It's not like a one a day.
sure. Yeah.
It's like Now brand and all that. Yeah, those are pretty good supplements too.
Perfect. Is there something you look for like on a supplement label to know like this is a good one or like stay away from this one?
Mhm. It's not necessarily something on the label. It's more about where it came from,
Okay.
which I worked for a chiropractor and I learned a lot about supplements. And I go to um, seminars and whatnot to learn more about supplements and the good brands. And usually it's more about the manufacturing. So the thing about
Okay.
like a one a day is the way that it's created. It's not that bioavailable. If you were to put it in a glass of water next to like a multivitamin from Innate Choice,
Hmm.
the one a day will not dissolve. It just kind of sits there in a lump, and then we in our body we may end up just like peeing or pooping it out. It doesn't even get absorbed, but that's also judged by the quality of your gut.
Hmm.
Versus the one from Innate Choice, it dissolves, it makes the water like brown and makes kind of a slushy because it all dissolved into the water and the nutrients are ready to be absorbed. So that's really more about the quality. There's nothing really on the label that tells you if it's good or not. It's more about where it came from, who's making it, was it sustainably sourced, things like that.
Yeah, that's an awesome advice because
Yeah.
I'm like a label reader for food and
Yeah.
supplements. So that makes me feel better. Like, don't stress so much about the label specifically or like what's listed, but like look at the manufacturing and like how are
Yeah.
they processing all of this?
Yeah. I'm sure that most of the labels, when you look at the nutrient percentages, will be similar. Like, yeah, this much vitamin E and A and zinc and whatever. But the quality of the supplement itself and how it was made is really what matters more.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah.
Trying to think, is there anything else that like you feel pregnant women should prepare for or focus on?
Good question. One thing I did want to touch on was hydration.
Mm,
I know that a lot of women deal with swelling in their feet and ankles or dizziness, and it may be because you are simply dehydrated.
hmm.
And we need to make sure if you are getting enough water, that you are not also taking in a ton of sugary drinks or caffeine because they deter from your hydration level. Water first. And if you need electrolytes because you're getting overheated or feeling dizzy, or you just did not get enough water in, things like maple syrup, pickle juice, um, things like that have great electrolytes in them, as well as the Scratch brand electrolyte powder. I
Hmm.
think that's available at the co-op here in Stevens Point. Noon packets,
Mm.
Nuun, that brand, they have packets and tablets that dissolve in your water. They're great quality. They don't have a bunch of junk in them. And it's a great way to get in like a yummy tasting thing. Like that was another thing about morning sickness was I would always have a terrible taste in my mouth,
Uh-huh.
like all day, every day. So if I could have flavored water from a Noon packet or sparkling water or something like that, it was like a game changer. And that Propel brand by Gatorade tends to
Yeah.
be a little bit better than Gatorade itself.
Hmm.
Gatorade is just sugar and corn syrup filled, and I don't recommend it unless you absolutely have no other options.
Yeah.
So making sure we're staying hydrated, and especially once you have baby and if you're breastfeeding, got to stay hydrated so you can continue to produce.
Yeah. How much water do you recommend? I mean, I know everyone's a little bit different, but like how
Yeah.
much water should be the goal?
Yeah. Half your body weight in ounces. If you don't know what that is, don't want to calculate it or track it, like about 3 of like 28 to 32 ounce bottles a day
Hmm.
is fine. Everybody's, you got to find what works for you, but it gets really helpful. I don't know if you've seen those big jugs you can get that have times of day on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and it ticks down every hour of the day and says like you're starting out strong and keep
Mhm.
going, and it gets more encouraging as you go down the bottle. So you finish the bottle, and I don't remember how many ounces those bottles are, but they're available online. I'm sure you can find them on Amazon, or maybe someone made them on Etsy. But it's helpful stuff just to make sure you get in enough of that water. So 3 bottles or one of those big ones, half your body weight in ounces, depends on your brain and how you track, how you figure that out.
Sure. I remember a friend she just had a really hard time getting like drinking water. It just wasn't appealing to her during
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy. And to carry like a big thing was overwhelming. So she actually got like a kid's sippy cup. And like
Yeah.
she would just, I mean, she'd fill it up all the time, but like it was easier for her to be like a smaller goal. Like I need to drink this within this hour. It wasn't so overwhelming. And I just thought that was a great idea to
Yeah.
like simplify it a little, like something easy.
Yeah. And start your day with it. I mean, I make sure that I have like half a bottle of water before I eat or drink anything else. As soon as
Mhm.
I get up in the morning, I drink water. It's just a great way to start your day. It kicks up your digestion, and then you're not relying on coffee to get things going or waiting for your meal, which when you're pregnant, you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Get some water in, making sure you're hydrated. Because sometimes when we're dehydrated, we tend to think of it as we need to eat, which is not necessarily the case. We need to just drink water. I don't know about you, but I've been fighting with my toddler for the last few weeks about like he's hungry and can't wait for the meal to be done. And I'm like, I need you to drink some water first.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll think about getting you a snack before the meal. It's just
Yeah.
those kids.
Yeah, that's so funny. Mine is like the total opposite. Like he will drink smoothies, juice, milk, like anything all day long. We are like constantly like food, eat this food, please, like please eat the food. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's like that's funny because he's totally opposite. Like drinking, yeah, he loves to drink things.
that's not a bad thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, Owen's a snacker. He loves to snack bars and chips and nuts, and he wants it all. And I'm like, could you
Yeah.
just drink some water, please? That'd be
Yeah. Yeah.
great. Oh,
Especially knowing like that the cues can sometimes be like mixed up between hunger and thirst. Like
yeah,
maybe you
yeah,
want some water, Owen.
yeah, exactly. That's what I keep telling him, and he like doesn't believe me.
Yeah.
But he's 3. They don't understand
Yeah.
physiology yet.
Right. Too funny. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share with expecting people or people who are thinking about getting pregnant?
Not nutritionally. I think we covered a ton, making sure you're getting in the veggies, protein, and fat, getting in
Mhm.
the folate, and let's see, yeah, omega-3, staying hydrated. That was really, you know,
Yeah.
the crux of what I wanted to talk about. We
Yeah.
yeah, I just started a podcast, and we have a whole episode on home birth. So if you ever
Hmm.
want to talk about that I can do too.
Yeah,
But in terms of
definitely.
nutrition, I think we're good.
Perfect. And how can people, I guess first, do you work with people just locally or do you do like online coaching as well?
Yeah, considering the current COVID-19 situation, people tend to want to stay online, which is
Mhm.
totally fine. It makes life a little bit easier for me, anyways, because then we're not trying to figure out, let's meet at this time at this place and blah, blah, blah. But I do have an office space. I'm located within Infinity Wellness and Chiropractic in Clover. So if you ever want to meet with me and you're in the area, I am here. But since things are virtual, I could do of someone who's far away. That's totally fine. I'm down
Awesome.
for that. And that's, like I said, typically what people are doing now. I'm starting small group coaching on Monday, and that's all virtual. We have messaging through Facebook, which is, a blessing and a curse.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that we have those means to meet up and chit chat about nutrition and educate and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And how can people, like, where can they find you? How can they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Yeah, you're welcome to find my website. First of all, you can just Google Sweet Spot Nutrition in Stevens Point, and I will pop up. And you can email me. You can head to my website, look at my stuff, email me from there. My email address is contactcoachkaylee@gmail. If you want to follow me on social media, you can search Sweet Spot Nutrition on Facebook, and on Instagram, I am Kaylee.sweetspotnutrition.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure Kaylee would love to hear from you guys if you have like questions or need support through
Mhm.
any nutrition things. So definitely directing you to her, reach out to her for any of that.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, and thank you so much for taking the time to just talk about all this pregnancy nutrition goodness.
Yeah, it was great. I love talking about food and then talking about it with pregnancy. Just it makes it more fun.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you again, Kaylee. Everyone have a great day.
Yeah.